Imagine biting into a juicy burger, but it didn't come from a cow. It wasn't farmed, no animal was hurt to make it, and heck, it didn't even come from a field. It was grown in a lab. Right now, there are companies actually serving lab-grown chicken nuggets to people in restaurants, and this isn't some futuristic experiment. We're talking actual meat made without the animal. And here's the crazy part. This could completely flip the global food system. We're talking less pollution, no animal cruelty, and potentially food for everyone, without needing more land or livestock. Alright, so let's get one thing straight. This isn't just another food trend. Lab-grown food isn't kale chips or oat milk level hype. This is next level stuff that could change the way we eat forever. In today's video, I'll explain why lab-grown food even matters, how it's done, what's wrong with the way we produce meat right now, and why scientists are scrambling for a better solution. We'll also look at the big players and real products already out there, as well as the challenges, because let's be real, it's not all sunshine and steak. Whether you're a hardcore foodie into sustainability or just curious if this stuff tastes anything like real meat, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. So, why are scientists even trying to grow meat in labs in the first place? Is this just some weird scientific flex, or is there an actual problem they're trying to solve? Well, spoiler alert, the way we produce meat right now, it's kinda broken. First up, the environmental impact. Producing meat the old school way, aka raising livestock, takes a massive amount of land, water, and food. Cows are the worst offenders. They release methane, which is like 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide when it comes to trapping heat in the atmosphere. According to the United Nations, livestock farming is responsible for around 14.5% of all human-made greenhouse gas emissions. That's more than all the world's cars, planes, and ships combined. Animal agriculture is one of the leading causes of deforestation, especially in places like the Amazon. We are literally chopping down forests to make room for cattle. That's not great for biodiversity, or, the planet. Then there's the efficiency problem. To get a single kilogram of beef, you need about 15,000 liters of water. That's enough water to fill 60 bathtubs, just for one steak. Now zoom in on the ethical issue. Every year, billions of animals are raised and killed for food. Even on so-called humane farms, conditions can be rough. And honestly, more and more people are uncomfortable with how animals are treated in industrial farming systems. Finally, there's the food security angle. As the global population climbs past 8 billion, we are going to need way more food, but we cannot just keep scaling up meat production. We're already hitting limits on land, water, and resources. And that's why scientists and startups around the world are going, what if we could have the meat, but without all the mess? And that's exactly what lab-grown food is trying to do. Let me show you how. So, how do they do it? It starts with a tiny sample of animal cells, usually taken from a real cow, chicken, pig, or fish. This sample can come from a small biopsy or even a feather or egg, depending on the animal. Once they have those starter cells, they place them in something called a growth medium. Think of it like a smoothie packed with all the nutrients the cells need to grow, such as amino acids, vitamins, sugars, salts, and oxygen. Then, the magic happens inside a bioreactor, which is basically a big steel tank that keeps the cells in just the right conditions. Warmth, nutrients, pH. Everything is dialed in to mimic how cells grow inside of a living animal. Over time, the cells start multiplying and start forming muscle tissue. And boom, you got real meat. No slaughter, no farming, no animal suffering. Just meat built from the ground up. So, by now you're probably wondering, who's actually doing this? Who's growing meat in a lab right now, and how far have they gotten? There are real companies right now making real meat in labs, and some of them have already hit the market. Let's start with the heavyweights. First, we have Good Meat. This one is a big deal. It's a division of Eat Just, a company that makes plant-based eggs. Good Meat was the first company in the world to get regulatory approval to sell lab-grown meat to the public. That happened in Singapore in 2020. Since then, They've been serving up cultivated chicken to real customers in restaurants, and we're not talking test tube scraps, it's full-on chicken fillets. Next, we got Upside Foods, based in California. They're one of the pioneers in this space, and they made the headlines when they unveiled a lab-grown chicken breast that looked and cooked just like the real deal. In 2023, the FDA gave them the no questions letter, meaning their process is considered safe to eat, basically a huge green light in the US. Mosa Meat is another major player, and they are based in the Netherlands. These guys are actually the OGs. They made the world's first lab-grown burger back in 2013, and it cost around $330,000 at the time. Today, they managed to bring down the cost and are gearing up for commercial production. Their focus is on beef, and they're building a large-scale facility to make it happen. Then we have Believer Meats from Israel. They're working on a little bit of everything, from chicken to lamb, and they developed some super efficient tech that reduces production time and cost. Oh, and we can't forget about Aleph Farms, also from Israel. These guys are literally working on growing steaks. Yep, thick marble cuts of beef without cows. They're even working with space agencies to grow meat in space. And finally we got Wild Type, who are growing sushi-grade salmon in labs. Their product looks just like the real thing, and they're targeting high-end sushi restaurants first. To prove it, here's a little test. See if you can tell which is the wild-caught salmon fillet and the one that was grown in a lab. If you got this correct, here's your medal. So maybe by now you are on board with lab-grown food, but hold on, it's not all smooth sailing. Let's dive into the hurdles this industry faces before it can truly revolutionize our dinner plate. First up, the price tag. While the cost of producing lab-grown meat has plummeted over the years, it's still not cheap. For instance, producers have slashed the production cost by 99% to roughly $17 per pound. That's a significant drop, but it's still higher than conventional meat. Scaling up production to make it affordable for the average consumer remains a significant challenge. Producing lab-grown meat in a lab is one thing. Mass producing it for supermarkets is another. Even after significant investments, the lab-grown meat industry is grappling with the scalability issues. Now, let's talk about the yuck factor. Despite the environmental and ethical benefits, many consumers are hesitant to embrace lab-grown meat. Studies have shown that consumers often perceive lab-grown meat as unnatural or less tasty compared to traditional meat. Overcoming these perceptions is crucial for widespread adoption. Navigating the regulatory landscape is another significant challenge. Different countries have varying regulations regarding lab-grown meat. For example, on May 1, 2024, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill banning the manufacture, sale, or distribution of cultivated meat in Florida, and a federal lawsuit challenging this ban is still ongoing. One of the biggest challenges for this type of technologies is replicating the taste and texture of traditional meat, and this is not a small feat. Researchers at Harvard University are exploring innovative methods like using gelatin fibers to mimic the texture and consistency of meat. However, achieving the perfect bite remains a work in progress. Alright, so let's fast forward. We'd look at where lab-grown food is right now and the hurdles it's facing. But what does the future look like? Let's talk about what's around the corner and why this might just be the start of something way bigger than meat. First off, lab-grown food isn't stopping at beef or chicken. There's also lab-grown dairy. Yes, milk, cheese, and even ice cream, all made without cows. Companies like Perfect Day are using precision fermentation to produce dairy proteins that are genetically identical to the real thing. Another product which recently made the headlines is a lab-grown chocolate by California Cultured. They have managed to produce it, but they are still figuring out how to scale it. And it doesn't end there. Think egg whites, gelatin, fat tissue, even human breast milk for infant formula alternatives. Here's something that might be the real game changer. Lab-grown food could change our relationship with animals and nature. Future generations might grow up in a world where killing animals for food would feel as outdated as dial-up internet. As lab-grown food becomes more accepted, we could see global ethical standards shift, much like we've seen with plastics or fossil fuels. So, what do you think? Would you try a lab-grown burger? What food would you grow in a lab? Let me know in the comments. And if you find this cool, or kinda weird in the best way, give it a like and consider subscribing. Until next time.